Yo guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are here with FRLT, round number 9, this is the finale. Had Netherlands last week, it didn't go very well at all. The second half of this season has been pretty poor, that's why you haven't really seen a video on this since Abu Dhabi, which was I think round 2 or 3. We haven't had anything since then, but we are P3 in the standings, we are just ahead of SKG.
And that's just
And
30 seconds
they've done
left in the
quite a
session.
few less races than us this season, and they're still only like 11 points behind us, which is ridiculous. But oh well, they are a very quick team, we are a brand new team. We have had some driver issues for the second half of the season, but that is besides the point. We are here now, and Bahrain is a track that it's not one of my favourite tracks, but honestly in practice I was putting up really quick lap times, and this is my last run, and my first run was enough to keep me in P6 throughout the entire session. I believe we're only like 2/10 behind, I think even P1, P2 or P1, but we're just here. We're going to put in we have a lot of time to gain. We're going to try and put in a good lap here. We nail this corner absolutely perfectly, and we gain about 1.5 tenths, which is insane, and that's just one of the places that we can gain a lot of time. We lose a little bit more, just trying to chuck it in here. We get it rotated nicely, try and get on the power, and we managed to keep the time. It's not been a bad lap so far. Down into the downhill left-hander, get it done pretty well. We use the exit curve. We're still about even with our first lap, and that's not too bad at all, and we can definitely gain some more time in this last sector. There's a lot to gain. Chucking in nicely, getting on the power. We actually hit the curb. We have a little moment that loses us some time, even though we're still gaining a little bit. That did lose us some time. Up into turn 13. Now this is a very difficult corner for me. We actually run a bit deep in that, even though we're still even on the time, we've lost time there. There was definitely 0.5 tenth in that. Just not getting it right so far into the final 2 corners, but it's really just one corner. We hit the curb and we have a little bit of a moment on exit. I'm not happy with that lap because we lose about 0.5 tenth on that last corner. But we do manage to go into P4, which isn't horrible. But I do know that we did have like 2 tenths, maybe even 3 tenths in that lap, and we could have PB'd in this session. That would have been a PB. But unfortunately, in P4, only about 1.5 tenths behind P1. Definitely had that in me. XRA Robbie on pole, followed by Ryan Binnick and Bourbon Boy, rounding out the top 3. And that's going to be a bit of an issue.
Alright, good luck, guys.
With those 2 XR8 guys being in P1 and 2. They're going to be able to work together. They're probably going to match the strategy. And they're going to be a tough team to beat today. But either way, into the race now. We're starting on the hard compounded tyres. And it's lights out and away we go. It was a very long hold. We get a pretty bad start and we're already being jumped by the 2 XR8 drivers behind us. They're on the soft tyres. They were obviously going to beat us off the line. We're going to try and go around the outside of Bourbon Boy though, because he is really who we're fighting on this lap 1. It's 3 wide right now, and we actually managed to hold it. We nearly spin, and then we manage to hold off Bourbon Boy. He's looking for a move, but we're just going to burn the battery, and he's not going to go for anything on lap 1, because we do still need to try and keep with these top 3. The top 3 are all on the soft compounded tyres, and they are all XR8 drivers, so they're going to be in the same team, and they're just going to be working together. These are the strategies for this race. They're on the softs. They're going to be boxed around lap 10. They're going to get an insane undercut. We're starting on the hards, and we're going to box to the softs later on. We're not going to box to the mediums because the medium tyres on this track are pretty useless. They have, I think, similar tyre wear to the softs, and they just have so much less pace, so there really is no point using those tyres. And I found out my own hard way earlier in the F1 game cycle, and I tried the medium tyres, and it did not work at all. So we are not going to make that mistake again. And any other time I've done this track and I've tried to do this strategy, it's not went well. I've not been able to use these hard tyres well at all. And then when we box onto the softer tyres later, that isn't a strategy I often do. I usually start on the mediums and then box to the hards and try and undercut. But this is just not the good strategy. That is what the top 3 are doing. They're all on the soft compounded tyres. But they're doing this to get some very clear track position as we're getting overtaken by Bourbon Boy. That's alright. They're doing it to get some very clear track position, and then later on when we catch up, once we've put on the softer tyres, which we will catch up, that's just how it is. The strategies end up being quite even. Then they will just work together because there's 3 of them. You know, they've played this perfectly, and I believe they should be all 4 of them at the front. But I believe Simba had an issue as one of our teammates at the back gets spun around in the Red Bull. That's Ivy round. That's unfortunate for him. On to lap 3 now. We are in P6, and Wooder on the softs. He is on a different strategy to us, but he's not been able to make the first few laps work as well, so that he's up with the top guys. We're getting a move up the inside on Milan. He's sending on us. Managed to hold it off for now at least. But Wooder started a bit further back in the grid, and he's done really well to get to where he is. But because he started so far back, even though he started on the softs, we're actually defending from Milan. He's going up the inside. It's a very, very aggressive move. He's still there, and we decide we are just going to back out because we don't want to stay side by side in here, because we will just lose even more time. And even though I did defend that really hard, I didn't think he would stay with the move. But we are managing to stay in the DRS, and that's alright. But Wooder is up here now, and he's just going to be holding us up from now on. So we all need to dispatch him instantly, because his tyres are just gone now. Like 5 laps in, the softs are gone. That's just how it is. But if you're on the mediums, it would do the same. And later on, for us on the softs, it will also do the same. But you can see the top 2 get past Wooder, and now we need to get past. Just because his tyres are going to be so much slower, we really need to make a move as soon as possible so that Milan doesn't break away from the DRS of Wooder. And this is going to be a crucial lap, but you can see we've got no battery. And at this moment, I'm thinking, this might be a problem. This might be race over. This might be the challenge for the win gone, just because of this one tyre, or this one driver. But he goes really deep, and we're going to try and get a good exit. We're going to line up the move. He doesn't defend. We move up the inside, braking late, and he ends up letting us go. He doesn't fight it too hard.
Brilliant. Nice
and
move.
now
Keep
we're
going.
just in the DRS of Milan. But now they're backing up, so we're just easily going to be in the 1 second. And that was a crucial move. And now it's basically just going to be the 3 of us, at least, making the moves. There's only going to be the 3 of us, because you can see we move on a few laps to lap 8. I think that's 5 laps ahead. Wooder is still in the DRS behind us, but he is nearly a second gone.
Okay,
He's really
gap
not
to
going
the
to do
car
anything.
ahead.
And now, this is
1.5
where
seconds.
the XR8 drivers start to box off the softs and onto the hards. This is where their strategy comes into play. They're going to do 20 more laps on the hard compounder tyres and hope that their early progress and the time that they've gained and their defence as a team is going to be enough to hold them onto the podium places.
Try and hold them up in the next sector.
And you can hear me saying, I'm asking one of my teammates to try and stay out and hold someone up. And that was, I believe, Robbie. And he wasn't able to do so, unfortunately. We actually skipped forward about 6 laps. And you can see we've just overtaken Simba. And that is going to be an issue in the future. And now you can see Luan Skill in the Alpine and the fastest lap, only 13.5 seconds behind us. And he is one of the drivers that boxed early. He is in the lead of this race. Brian Benink is now there, P4 and 5. Anto's doing his best to hold him up, which is very, very appreciated from him. But you can see the time they've gained on the fresh tyres in the last like 10 or so laps. It's been around 10 seconds. And we actually move around the outside of Milan, and we nearly run into the back of Bourbon Boy. But now this is where I've been trying to save my tyres over the last few laps, or the last like 10 laps or so. I really haven't been making any moves. That's why it was such a big cut, because only the top 2 are swapping positions. I wasn't really doing anything. But now this is where my tyres are going to be that little bit better, and we're going to try and make some progress before the box. And when we box, we will hopefully be in the lead in our little group, and then we will have all the pace to push on the fresh tyres. And you can see now, the ghosted lapped car that we overtook 2 laps ago is now here, and I don't know why he's still here. He is part of the team that's in the lead. He's part of XR8 with the Alpines and the Williams. He is with them, and I actually don't know why I didn't report this, because this is surely against the rules. Like, you can't just be allowed to just get in the way like this. But now we're just going to move up into the lead of this train, which is when the game's telling me to box, but it is not when we will actually be boxing. But now, for the first time in this race, we're actually in the lead. We are now leading this race, and we are leading. It's not net P1, it's like net P4, because the soft runners that boxed earlier are going to come out miles ahead of us. And lap 19 now, this is when the game wanted us to box. But we're not going to box, but this is where Bourbon Boy or Milan could decide to box, and Milan, at the back of the train, has decided to pull the trigger. He is going for an undercut on the both of us, and now we're going to work together with Bourbon Boy. We're going to let him go. We're not going to fight this at all. And we're going to hopefully be on full push mode this lap. And we need to try and really minimise the amount that Milan's going to jump us, because he is going to jump us. and it's just whether we can stay in the DRS or not. The top 3 now, or the actual top 3 are now all here. They're all 12 and a bit seconds behind us, so we've lost about a second in the last lap or two. And this is where it is getting interesting. End of this lap, we have a little bit of a moment coming into the pits, but this is going to be where we box. Going to brake very late, and we actually have to lock up the tyres because we nearly actually sped. It wasn't really that close, but you know, I wasn't gonna let that happen. I wasn't gonna let myself speed. I wasn't gonna take the risk. The cars in the front 3 have came out easily ahead of us, and now you can see Milan's just came out, and he is quite far ahead of us actually. These soft tyres are incredibly fresh, and you're going to see a theme in the middle or in a minute. You're just going to see how fast we are, and instantly I can feel the grip. And honestly, instantly it felt wrong. I'd been on those worn hard tyres for so long that these tyres really feel good, but they feel too good. Like, I'm slower now. You can see I'm just about losing. I'm losing out quite a bit of time to Bourbon Boy. We need to lock in. We need to start putting the foot down a bit more. We need to imagine that this is qualifying. But it's been 20 laps since I've done any laps on a fresh set of tyres like this. This feels really strange. We're nearly a second away from Bourbon Boy, and if we lose the DRS here, the race is pretty much over. So we're going to burn so much of the battery, and we're just going to really focus on staying in this DRS. Doesn't matter how much I have at the end of the lap, and at the end of the lap, we actually do manage to stay in. We are pretty comfortably there within half a second. But up the road, Milan, setting the fastest lap. He is around at 1.6 seconds ahead of myself now. Yeah, you can see 1.6 seconds. And you can also see in the top left, Ryan Benink on the hards, 6.7 seconds up the road. And the way we're gaining on them, this is going to be a pretty big scrap for the win. There's going to be 6 cars in contention for the win. And end of lap 23 now, we've gained a second in that lap alone. We've gained 1.5 seconds just on that lap, and there's still 7 laps to go. We are going to catch these cars, and we set the fastest lap for good measure. But we're going to let Bourbon Boy go again because we need to try to slingshot each other back up to Milan because he's still got pace. He's a very quick driver, and we let him go. He's having a bit of a moment. I've noticed whenever I let Bourbon Boy go, he does have a bit of a bad turn 1, which is unfortunate, and it's never something we can really punish. But it is something I noticed was happening. On the next lap now, we're going to just go past him again. We've gained around half a second onto Milan on the last lap, and you can see now in the visuals, this is the fight for the win. The top 3 are all right there up the road, and this is where it is going to get spicy. 5 laps left to go, and now you can see Milan's caught them. There's 4 in the lead tray, and they're just going to keep backing up now. And this is actually important that we stay as close, or we get in still as quick as possible, because these guys are going to be holding him up. But also, if Milan just gets through, he's just going to break away. And you can see up ahead, they're fighting already. There's a bit of a moment. They're side by side. And Bourbon Boy's through, and he's got through at an ideal time for him. And this always seems to happen to me on this game, where if I'm catching a train, I will never be the first person. If I'm working with someone, I will never be the first person to catch this train. Milan actually has a big moment. He could nearly get spun, I think. And now we are just fully connected to this train. This is now a 6-driver fight for the win. And me, Milan, and Bourbon Boy are clear favourites here. But the top 3 are all teammates. They are all going to be working together, which theoretically should make it really difficult to get by them, because they can just go like 2 or 3 wide anywhere and they won't take each other out. And it is really just... It's like an impenetrable wall here. You can see everyone's going off the racing line. They're all trying to break DRS. They're all just following. We're going to save some battery because there is really no point in staying so close, especially when they're all this slow up ahead. We're just going to save the battery and try and go for a move on the main straight, which is fine with me. Just cutting ahead a few corners, and this is now where we're going to burn a lot of the battery. And just simply see what happens. We've got around 80% to use. Going to try and stay behind in the slipstream, but then we're going to move... Oh no, we're not going to move anywhere. We're just going to burn all the battery. But then also, they are also charging as well. And up ahead, you can see they're going side by side, but this isn't really a threat to them. We're going to try and go around the outside to the Aston, and we can't quite hold on to it, which isn't really a problem as well, because we can just stay here and then pick up the pieces of any fights. And up ahead, Milan's getting a move, and he's actually going to go for a dive. He sends up the inside, and he just bowling balls them out the way, and they hit the wall. They are out of the race.
God, don't be a safety car.
And
no.
there's a safety car right when we didn't
three
need
people
it.
just took each other out.
And this is what it looked like from the broadcast view. Milan just sends it and just takes two of them out the race, and then they just wheel hook. And then bang, they are out the race. Robbie is out the race. Luon, Skillet, and Milan actually survived that with damage. But now we're P3, and even though that's a great position to be in, now everyone on the grid is going to box the softs. Absolutely everyone's going to box again. And it's now just whether they've got a fresh set of softs or a used set from qualifying, because I managed to save 2 sets of softs for this exact moment. I wanted to use,
Going to be
I think
two
it was
chaos,
1 set of tyres
in a
in
nice position.
qualifying, and I was able to save 2. Or I chose the softer compounds, and then I used 2 and then saved 2. Basically, we might be the only one on the grid with completely fresh tyres, which is a very nice thing to have, but also I didn't want the safety car because obviously we just gained 3 free positions from that crash, and it would have been an easy top 2 if we were just able to keep racing. But we haven't, and we're going to have 2 laps of racing up until the end. Ryan Benink's going to lead us away. Everyone on new softs. This is going to be complete chaos. I've seen restarts on Bahrain like this, and it never looks fun. It really isn't fun. But either way, he's about to go, and he goes. We don't really get a gain on the cars ahead. If anything, we're going to lose out a little bit to Milan. But we do burn all the battery, as is everyone else. And we're just going to see what happens. They move to defend the inside. We're going to try and see what we can do to get boxed in a little bit. We're going to try and go around the outside. Milan's now upper inside, which isn't ideal. Nearly hitting the Aston ahead of us. And we're going to just still burn more battery. Ryan's breaking the DRS. And now we're going to have a similar moment to Milan where I think he's going to send it, and then we're just going to defend the inside. Now he's going to try and get around the outside. We managed to cover it off. And right now, I can see the cars ahead saving. So I also go into save mode. I make a little bit of a mistake on the curb, and I didn't realise Milan was right there. We're defending the inside. He's sending up the inside. There's contact made, and Luon Skiller just goes through, and we've lost out on 2 positions just because he wanted a chance. And I thought I had the win. I'm going to send it back up the inside of the McLaren. And then Luon Skiller, making a bit of a mistake, kind of boxes him in. And we're going to just try and burn battery now. But then we also just want to sit behind because we can still get a podium from anything happening up ahead. And I wasn't happy with Milan for that move because he locked the rears in the end. It was very hard racing. He locked the rears, and then we got overtaken by Luon Skiller, who is just a quicker driver than me. But anyway, about to get onto the final lap. One last lap, about 1.5 more minutes of racing left, and we're trying to save up as much battery as we can. But it's really difficult at this point because we want to keep the straight line speed. And onto the final lap we go. We're going to burn some more battery. Going to try and pick up a podium in this race. We're still holding on at the fastest lap, which is pretty surprising. The fact everyone is close to each other, I don't think it's going to get beaten. Milan fixes a move up ahead, goes wide, tries to get a bit of a good exit. We actually hit into the back of Milan, which kind of stumps our momentum there. But we're still going to burn more battery. Here we are. We're gaining so much, gaining all the time. He defends the inside. We move to the outside. Then we move back to the inside. It's a very late move. He leaves us the space, and then we're just leaving him enough space as well. It's very hard racing. He's still side by side, and we managed to just get ahead there. And now we're going to make sure we cover the inside. We cover the inside, then we move and cover the outside, and we managed to make the move. It's amazing racing between myself and Milan. I can appreciate it now, but at the time I wasn't happy because we were just losing time to the cars ahead. And he is the reason I'm not in the top 3 right now. But either way, that's not a problem. We've made the move, and we're now comfortably ahead of him. And now we're just going to try and save some more battery for like a last second move. There's fights up ahead. So you see they're going too wide. Ryan's under immense pressure from Bourbon Boy. And they're still so close. And we're just holding onto the battery so we can hope that in the run to the line, we are able to gain a position or two. We get a track limit warning. We don't care. We knew we could afford to lose one. And we're just trying to stay as close as we can, but it really isn't looking like it'll be enough. And except that Ryan Benink and Bourbon Boy going side by side, but we have a big snap out the final corner, and then we end up just missing out. We're not going to gain much, and we managed to set another fastest lap. And that is really unfortunate that we only managed to get P4, because I really thought that I could get a win today. I really thought I could get a win. Bourbon Boy managed to cross in P1, which is, I think I should have been there. And I was saying that in the chat afterwards. They didn't think that. We had a little bit of an argument, which was quite fun. I enjoyed that. But either way, these are the results at the end. Bourbon Boy takes the win. Ryan Benink in P2, Luon Skiller in P3, myself in P4 and Milan in P5, and we actually outscored Milan here because I was ahead of Milan, so I scored more. My teammate Deck was ahead of Smokey, so they scored more, and I'm not sure what the other cars are for SKG, but I don't think they. I think no, I don't. It's not. I don't think we did. We did hold on to P3 in the championship, and that is the FRLT season over. That is the league racing season for F124 over completely. That is me done. Maybe I'll do one more race, a community race, a little send off for UFRL. Not sure, but thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this video, remember to give a like and subscribe, and I will see you for some F125 content. That's going to be fun. I cannot wait for F125. Going to have a lot of videos on that. Bit differently, not league racing. Maybe also a lot of league racing as well, but that's going to be a bit later down the line. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, and see ya.